Aaron Rodgers' career will end just in free agency, just like this. He's going to just not choose a team. No one's going to want him. Steelers will move on to maybe Russell Wilson, and this is just how it ends. He doesn't maybe wait to latch on to a team. What do y'all think about that? Is that a true statement? Is that a false statement? Is that a half-true statement? Tim, why don't you start?
Timmy, you start.
I'm going to say this is a half-true statement. I think his career does end, but I don't necessarily think it's because a team doesn't want him. I think it's because he doesn't want to play for either of these teams. I think I had seen a post saying that he was interested in playing for the Vikings, which to me doesn't really make any sense. They have the QB that they're going to try to roll with. Why would you want to step into that? It sounds like he's trying to just be Brett Favre at this point.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So they've said that they have no interest in signing Rodgers. So it basically comes down to the Giants and the Steelers. Those are the two teams that are willing. Now, the problem is he's kind of got both teams by the balls here. He's got the Giants won't offer Russell Wilson a contract because they want to get Rodgers, but Rodgers won't make a decision. They could have Russ on the roster right now if they really wanted to. But until Rodgers makes that decision, they're not going to offer one to Russ because if Russ signs, then they don't get Rodgers. So it is kind of a stranglehold that he's got. I do agree. I think he does end this year. I already said this a couple weeks back. I don't think he gets signed because I think he just says, I'm not going to take my talents anywhere. I'm going to take a year off, whatever. I think he's done. I don't think he's got anything left.
So I think it's Steelers or bust. I think those are the Vikings. It makes sense why he wants to go to the Vikings. I mean, you have a situation where he thinks to himself, I just watched Sam Darnold get 14 wins here. They obviously lost the last two games of the season. They had a chance. They went into the last game of the season looking that they could have been the one seed and the best team in the league, like record-wise, tied with the Chiefs. So I get why he would want to go there. If you have any faith in J.J. McCarthy, I don't know why you would want him there. Like, you have the option to trade for Kirk Cousins. You could get Russell Wilson, who wouldn't be as much of a locker room problem if you did want to just get a veteran guy. Or there's quarterbacks out there that you can get if you need a filler for a year while you're – because I know there was in mid-season there was a report that it might be a little setback for J.J. McCarthy. But regardless of what it is, if he's the quarterback of the future – then you don't get Aaron Rodgers. That just stymies the process of him coming in because Aaron's going to want to be there. I think he says he wants a 2-year contract. I think the Steelers are the only team that makes sense. I do think he probably ends up a Pittsburgh Steeler. I just feel so Steeler to just continue to try to get the carousel of veteran quarterbacks, and then you have your defense, which is always going to be good to very good, and then you've got offensive pieces. Now you got DK to go along with. I know you lost Najee, but the running back can be replaced. Even weird fact, I did not know he was the only running back over the last 4 years straight to have 1,000 yards rushing in every year. All of them have been like 1,040, 1,030, 1,030, but like
I think
1,001.
it's about there. Like
with the 17 games, they got to kind of change that metric. 1,000 isn't as impressive as it was.
No. That extra game because he's literally never ran over 4.1 yards per carry.
No, like it's statistically, he is both good and bad. He's
like legitimately like right, and he runs at like about your league average back. Like essentially, like that's like he's an above average back overall, but his statistically he is league average back, about 1,000 yards.
He's just an
4 yards
man.
to carry, 6 to 7 touchdowns. Like he's like league average. But I think Aaron Rodgers ends up a Steeler because it's the only place that makes sense. If he's not a Steeler, then I don't think he's on a roster.
Yeah, I think this could go a few ways. It's interesting because I really think the two best places for him would have been either, Keenan, you mentioned like a veteran quarterback carousel. To me, the team I think of when it fits that profile is the Indianapolis Colts. And I think that would have been perfect.
They're the same thing.
I think that would have been perfect for Aaron Rodgers. I think the Raiders would have been perfect for Aaron Rodgers rather than Geno Smith. I think Geno's good for him. Let me rephrase that. Geno's good for the Raiders, but I think Aaron Rodgers might have even been better. I've been consistent. I thought the whole Jets experience and the blame that got placed on Rodgers was a little bit, I don't know, overused. I thought it was a little much. I thought You could see it was coaching, especially when you take their DC away and make him the head coach and effectively have no DC. And we saw what happened to their defense. I mean, we thought that would be the strength of their team, and it was one of the weakest parts of their team. Aaron Rodgers had the same amount of touchdowns as the MVP this year, as far as passing touchdowns. He was top 10 in yards. Quarterback rating, I'm not sure, but I mean, at least that's a couple major passing categories right there that he's top 10 in. And brought Devontae Adams back to life. Devontae looked good. Garrett Wilson didn't look great, but Devontae looked good. So, I don't know. I do look at it like Rodgers could have really shelved it. I think I even said that around week 12 or 13. Like, oh, Rodgers going to have a fake injury and he's going to be out for the season. And then whatever happens next year happens. But he really stuck it out and played and had a positive attitude and really wasn't much of a distraction other than his normal McAfee show type shit. But I don't know. I think, and I mentioned this a couple weeks back with Tim, I could see a world where Rodgers just sits out to like week 6 and whoever needs a quarterback, whoever gets injured, Rodgers hops in there. I mean, we know he's not going to want to go to minicamp or anything like that. So I almost think that's how he's playing it. Like Tim said, though, he's holding up Russell Wilson completely because Russ is going to go to either one of the Giants or back to the Steelers once Rodgers makes his decision. And I thought he would have made his decision by now. So for him to be this far along, now 2 weeks into free agency, and we have nothing from Rodgers. And I think I saw a report earlier that the Vikings are completely committed to McCarthy, so that rules them out. And I think that would be the other perfect spot for him would be the Vikings. Like, I think I even threw that in the group chat that, don't be surprised if he goes there because I think that would be an incredible spot for him given their weapons. But I think it ends up being a sitting out game, and then maybe we see him week 4, week 5, week 6. What would make the most sense? It would be the Steelers. I think the Giants would just be a super weird situation given his point in his career and their point as a franchise.
I think that would be. I think that's stupid. To be honest with you, if you're gonna just because I think Rodgers wants to win and like there's no, like I just don't think like I think the Giants could be semi-competitive, but like I don't know. That's yeah. I'm gonna let Timmy go with a question because I'm probably gonna talk about the Giants at some other point at some other thing I'm gonna bring up here later on. So